For a few years now, there's been a lot of talk of cinematic television. But what is that? Some people seem to think big equals cinematic. But I don't agree. For me, cinematic is about using the tools of the medium to tell a story dialogue alone can't. For example, the first scene of Season 1, Episode 1 of The Sinner immerses the audience in the psychology of the lead character in a way that adds layers under what the dialogue is saying. The creative team use picture, sound and blocking and leave it to the audience to infer what's going on in the character's head. This scene is only about a minute long. If you want to check it out first, it's on Netflix and plenty of other streaming services between these time codes. The story in this series is based around how unremembered events in this character, Cora's past, affect her actions in the present. So what this opening scene is seeking to do is take us inside the character's head to give us a sense of how she feels about her place in the world. On the surface, what happens in the scene is this. Cora explains details of an air conditioner order to a customer.
We just need a day for the installation.
No, I won't be there myself.
Her husband and father-in-law enter.
Well, I will be in contact with you next week to confirm.
Her father-in-law compliments her on doing a good job.
I got to say, these look good.
And that's it. Except, if you watch the scene, you know there's so much more going on. We start by cutting from a close-up on Cora to a long shot. The position of the camera and the objects in the foreground give this shot a someone is watching the character vibe. I don't mean it wants us to think someone is literally watching her, but it does sort of give us that feeling in a way a more standard long shot wouldn't.
But I promise you they'll do a great job. And you'll be nice and cool for the rest of the summer.
From there we track behind Cora. Then the camera rapidly accelerates towards the back of her head. This fast move is enough to create a little tension.
The rest of the summer, how does that sound?
The camera whip pans left to show us two men entering the warehouse. The harsh noise of their entry combined with the look on Cora's face makes it feel like they're disturbing her calm.
I'm sorry. What? Yeah.
One of the men, who we will infer is her husband, tries to pull her onto his lap, but she pulls away.
So I wasn't able to finish the onion list.
You did the Jacksons?
Yeah, it's in there.
That's all we need.
Neither of them have to say anything. This bit of blocking alone implies there is some discord between them, or at the very least that they're not on the same page about what's appropriate in this situation. Then this shot, which I think is my favourite touch in the scene.
Pretty soon I won't even need to come into work.
Cora is framed between the two men. The shallow depth of field leaves both of the men out of focus, with her isolated, maybe trapped between her husband and in-laws. This is a very brief shot, but actually, after this scene, this composition will be repeated several times to help get us inside Cora's headspace before the extreme action she takes, which kicks off the story. So what's going on in the character's head? In only about a minute, using camera position, movement, blocking, depth of field and sound design, we get tension, isolation, a sense of being trapped, and some barrier between her and her husband. This is cinematic television. Thanks for checking this out. If you find these videos useful, please let me know in the comments. And if you want to see any more of my stuff, I'm on all the usual social medias.